to you from the U.S. and streaming all over the world. This is Shotgun Sports USA. Get accurate, reliable information in every single episode. With interviews from the best shooters in the game, the best gun clubs across the globe, and industry-leading companies that revolutionize the sport. Find us online at shotgunsportsusa.com. Shotgun Sports USA is driven by Beretta, the #1 choice of champions. Also brought to you by Cole Gunsmithing, Rick Hemingway's Pragmatic Trap Sales, Castellani USA and Ultimate Shooting Accessories, Sound Gear Phantom, Clay Target Vision, and Clay Shooter Supply. Welcome to the show. Better with Beretta. Pro tips from the #1 choice of champions.
I'm Jared Greenwood, pro shooter for Beretta. The best piece of advice I've received over my 13 years of shooting is that every master was once a beginner. It's important for the new shooters, the younger shooters, to remember that, in that it's going to take time to build consistency, to build good habits. So don't get discouraged after one bad round or one bad station. Keep your head in it, keep grinding. Kind of be like a duck in the water. Comes up out of the water just runs off as fast. Just like having a bad station, just run off your back, keep focused hard, and keep working to whatever your end goal may be. Don't give up after just one bad day. Keep climbing that mountain, keep working hard, you'll get there.
My guest on the show this week is from Nevada. He's a very competitive person and shooter and has traveled the world hunting and shooting with his family, and as far as he's concerned, he doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. You'll find him at every big tournament across the U.S. with a smile on his face and a great attitude. Please welcome Mike Dianda. Mike, what's up, man?
How are you, Justin? Good to talk to you.
Yeah. You know, I got an email the other day, and it said, I've got on my website, if you have a guest recommendation, and they said, you ought to get Mike on the phone. And I said, well, I've never thought about that. I see Mike everywhere that I go, nearly, at all these shoots. And I've always wondered about him, but I've never thought about getting him on the podcast. Well, here we are. So whoever sent that in, I'd have to go back and look, but somebody recommended you.
Well, yeah, tell him thank you, whoever it is, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. And you're an interesting guy, really. I heard, a while back that you hunted a lot, and you had a hunting show on TV and all sorts of stuff. So I've seen you at all these shoots. I know you're from out west, and I see you everywhere. So let's kind of start from the beginning. Where are you from? And just like everybody else I talk to.
From Reno, Nevada.
Yeah.
Born and raised here. Been here my whole life. My third generation on my dad's side. My grandfather immigrated from Tuscany, Italy. Came over, in 1921 when he was 13 years old on the boat. Ended up at Ellis Island. I still have the papers that he gave to my dad. Now I have them in my safe. And then both my great grandmother and great grandfather on my mom's side came over from Italy as well. And I'm fourth generation on that side. So they kind of settled in the state of Nevada in the north part of the state as farmers and ranchers. And, it was, the Italian community was kind of a really tight-knit community in Nevada back in the, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And they all just kind of settled here.
Still a lot of Italians there?
Yep, absolutely.
So that means there's good food there.
Oh, there's great food here. Lots of great Italian places here.
You're a big guy. I'm a big guy. You know we like to eat.
Oh, I love to eat. That's my problem. I'd like to lose a few pounds, but pasta and bread are my mainstay. So
yeah, talking about that, I had something wrong with my foot, and I went to the doctor the other day, and they're like, "It's what you're eating. You can't eat this and your foot just feel fine." I said, "Let me tell you something." I said, "I'd rather eat than walk." Okay, so I'm just going to keep eating what I was eating.
Absolutely. I was having that same conversation with Desi a couple of weeks ago in Georgia.
Yeah.
And she said, she goes, you work out all the time. Do you feel better? And I said, I would probably feel a lot better if I would eat properly along with going to the gym. I said, I eat whatever I want and then I just stay the same. So
yeah.
I'm kind of at a stalemate there.
So tell me what you do over there in Nevada.
My brother and I own a construction company that my dad started in 1964. And his first job, he had a partner who passed away early in their careers, like mid 70s. And my dad kept the company going. But their first job was a kitchen remodel for, I think it was $1,750. And I think I remember him telling me they grossed like $42,000 that year in revenue for the company. And let's see, we're in our 59th year. We'll turn 60 next year as a company. And last year we did right around 352 million.
Holy cow!
As far as work goes, so
wow,
we're a very diverse company. My dad was a carpenter by trade,
mm-hmm.
And then in the early 70s, the vertical construction market in northern Nevada was kind of on the downswing. So, my dad was always a visionary, and he thought, hey, if we don't diversify and do something different, we might not be around in a couple of years. So he bought a semi with a water tank on it. We bought a water truck, another tractor semi with an end dump trailer, and 2 backhoes. And we started doing gas station remodels and retrofits, and that's how we kind of got into the dirt work. And then in 1982, and then we grew the company from there, and that's actually the biggest part of our business now. We have over 300 pieces of yellow iron, meaning
equipment,
bulldozers, scrapers, excavators, backhoes, loaders, paving equipment. We do asphalt paving, concrete paving. We build bridges, freeways, anything that you can do to play in the dirt. Lots of underground piping. We do a bunch of work for the gold mines here in Nevada, as far as like retrofitting their leach ponds and building their roads. Because they don't have time to do it when they're mining. So they hire outside contractors to come in and do work for them. So that's the biggest part of our business. And then we still do a bunch of commercial building, some custom residential homes, and then we have an aviation department, and we do a lot of airport work, for Southwest Airlines, Alaska Airlines. We're doing some work for Delta and American. We're doing an addition to the Fresno, California airport, adding another terminal there. Getting ready to start a project here in Reno at our airport. Delta's going to add another terminal, possibly a new parking garage. So, we're spread out across the country, but the majority of our work is here in Nevada, and a lot in California as well.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if, a lot of people have probably heard of the Shields sporting goods stores.
Yep.
We've done 8 of those stores across the country for Shields. So yeah, we're a pretty diversified company. It's lots of moving parts and lots of employees. So it's, but we got a lot of really good people that help us run the company, and my brother and I have been there for a long time. So yeah, we don't have to be there day to day. With
Yeah.
technology, we got iPhones and computers, and I can work remotely, so I get to travel a little bit and
There you go.
go do some hunting and try to get to all the shoots.
So, how many employees do you have to operate that many machines and handle a company that size?
We're ramping up for our summer run, so probably by the end of this month we'll be around 900 to 1,000.
I had no idea. I mean, every time I see you, you're smiling, waving, and having a good time, and
Yeah.
and in the background, you got a company that big. Wow, that's crazy. I did not know that.
Well, if you always see me, I'm always on my phone, so somebody's always emailing me about a problem or something.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know how it is.
I like it when we go someplace and there's no service.
So you started working at this company, I mean, early, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started working with your dad?
Yeah, my dad was always of the philosophy of work first, play later.
Yeah.
And I always bitched about it when I was a kid. All my buddies were out riding their bicycles or going to the pool or going to the park or doing something, and I was working. So I started when I was 9 years old, and back then we had our own custom cabinet shop that we've since closed down. But I was in there sweeping the cabinet shop floor and dust, emptying sawdust bins and cleaning up around the yard. Um, changing tires on semi trucks and equipment, and it was I was working 40 hours a week during the summer when I was 9, and it's all I know. I've been there ever since. But look at
Kids these days wouldn't do that, Mike.
No, kids nowadays don't do that.
Yeah,
but
no.
It was I look back on it, and it gave me a really good work ethic, and made me appreciate what I have,
Right.
because I've had to work for it, and then there was always the stigma of, well, you're the boss's son, so you get whatever you want. And if people actually knew, it was the total opposite. He was harder on my brother and I than he was any of the employees. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything we ever got, we had to work for, because he didn't give us anything. So whatever we got, we earned it. So
now, did your dad did he like hunting, shooting, any of that stuff?
Oh yeah, he was a big hunter.
Okay. Didn't know if you had time with all that work going on.
He on the weekends during hunting season, we'd go duck hunting and goose hunting, and we'd go to, every year we'd make a trip to Pocatello, Idaho, and go on a pheasant hunt. And then if we drew a deer tag or something like that, we'd go deer hunting. But it wasn't too, he liked it a lot, but he was one of those old school guys that I think he liked working more than he liked hunting. So,
yeah,
if he couldn't go hunting or didn't want to go, then we didn't go. So, he always used to joke about, I should have never introduced you and your brother to hunting, because you guys are never home. I said, well, that's your fault.
Yeah. Next time to think about that, won't he? All right. So you started hunting, shooting, and then didn't you tell me you had something to do with rodeo as well?
Yeah. Played sports as a kid.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, baseball. Horrible basketball player, as you can tell from the way I'm built. I didn't really enjoy baseball. So I was a football guy. Played a year of college football here in Nevada at the university, and then I drew a desert bighorn sheep tag my freshman year in college, and after the season was over, I told the coach, who was also a good friend of my dad's, "Hey, I'm not coming back to play anymore because I drew a sheep tag and I won't be here for like 2 weeks of the season next year." So I I quit playing football. I went hunting, and then a lot of my uncles uh, were ranchers and cattlemen, and so when I was a kid and in high school, we'd go help them on the weekends, and I learned how to break horses, ride horses, you know, do a pack string in the mountains for deer hunting, and so I always kind of loved the Western way of life.
Yeah.
It was kind of ingrained as me as a kid, and I've always kind of loved that aura of the Western cowboy type lifestyle. So I could throw a ranch rope pretty good, and then had a friend of my dad's who was a professional team roper, and so I went and learned from him, and on the weekends, and every once in a while I'd take a week off here and a week off there, and go down the road with a traveling partner, and I was a team roper did that for 11 years. So
Wow.
it was something else to compete in, right? Because I wasn't playing sports anymore, and felt like there was something missing in my life, and it was that competing that I needed.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while, and then
So back then, if you look on it now, back in college, do you wish you'd have finished playing football?
no, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020 always. And I have a good life. I have a good career. I have great wife and family and kids and grandkids, and but that's one of my regrets. I wish I would have finished it out.
Yeah.
Think I could have been a starter, and I would have never made it to the pros, but at least I could have finished it out. So that's the only thing I ever quit in my life because I wanted to go do something else. So
Was you a lineman?
I was a defensive end.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. That's a good position right there.
It was a great position. I loved it.
Yeah. All right. So all this hunting and everything growing up led into you and your family hunting and traveling all over the world.
Yes. One of my best friends here from Reno, we grew up together. I don't know, we got a wild hair about 8-9 years ago that we should start a hunting TV show. So we did. We were on the Sportsman's Channel for I think 4 or 5 years, and it just got a little too expensive to keep it running on a network like that. So everybody was going to digital and YouTube. So we decided to put it on there for a while, and it's taken me to some really cool places. And my career has afforded me that lifestyle to where I can spend a little bit of money and go to some cool places around the world and hunt some awesome animals. So I've been very fortunate to do things like that.
What's one of your most, I guess, memorable hunts?
Well, I would say my most memorable hunt was, so people that are kind of close to me in my inner circle know I'm a mule deer fanatic. I love hunting big mule deer. So when my son turned 12 and he was able to apply for the draw in Nevada, and he drew a mule deer tag, killed an awesome buck. Probably a buck that people that hunt, their lifetime to kill, he killed on his first one. And, being out there with him, I'd probably say that was my most memorable hunt. But for me personally, I would say traveling to Tajikistan, in Asia over there, and killing Marco Polo sheep.
Well, I might ask you a funny question, but what's a Marco Polo sheep?
It's a big sheep. Looks kind of like a I'm sure you've seen like bighorns that we have here in the U.S.
Right.
You know, like a Rocky Mountain bighorn.
You're right.
These sheep are, you know, probably twice the size. Well, maybe size and a half bigger than body wise than the sheep we have here, and they're, you know, the horns are giant. You know, I killed a really good one. It was 65 inches on both sides in length. Super heavy horns. They live in extreme environments. Yeah, when I shot that sheep, I was at 16,800 feet in elevation.
Wow. You have an oxygen tank?
No, but I needed one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Big guy way up high like that. You got to have some kind of air.
oh yeah, it was very thin up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would never be a mountain climber. I'm not climbing to the top of the mountain unless there's something up there to shoot. So
Or eat.
or eat, exactly.
So your TV show, is that something you can still go watch? And
Yep, you can go check out all the episodes on YouTube. You can go to our Instagram or our Facebook page, and it's under Prime Revolution TV.
I'm going to check that out. I've never seen it. So
yeah, check it out. All the shows on there. I'm no Brad Pitt as when you see me on TV, but I think we did an okay job.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to be Brad Pitt, I don't think.
Well, that's true.
You know? So, this is a Sporting Clays podcast, and that's what we talk about. I just like getting to know people that, or letting everybody else get to know the person that I have on the show, because it's just interesting to hear, what they do and, where they come from and how they ended up shooting. So that's kind of why I like touching on a lot of this stuff, so that, that people know.
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, talk about clay shooting. Let's talk about how you got started into that and why you keep doing it.
Yeah. So, when I was a little kid, we had one trap shooting / skeet shooting facility, here in town. And, my dad would take my brother and I out there to practice and teach us how to shoot and, get ready for hunting season. And then I believe it was either 1989 or 1990. A family friend of ours, who was a rancher here in Nevada, opened a sporting clay course on his ranch, and it was called Sage Hill Clay Sports. And I had never heard of sporting clays before. And I think it started in the early 80s, right? Sporting clays in America, somewhere around there.
I've talked to a ton of people, and I hear different dates all the time. So I really can't tell you, when it started. But yeah, you hear people saying in the 80s, and you hear early 90s, and I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah,
so
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so this course opened out there, and we would go out there and go around the course and shoot these targets that were way different than trap and skeet, and it was kind of exciting, and not the same. Nothing against trap shooters and skeet shooters, but
Right.
It wasn't the same humdrum. God, it's coming from the same spot every time. It was like, man, this is cool. So this club would host a bunch of charity events, and my dad and our company would sponsor different charity events, and we'd go shoot in these charity sporting clay shoots.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I kind of always I'd do it every once in a while, but I was rodeoing at the time.
Right.
And then when I quit doing that, I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? So I thought, man, that sporting clay stuff was pretty cool. So I kind of got back into it, tried to get back into it, and then figured, well, you're not very good at this. You better get a coach. So
yeah,
flipped through a couple magazines, found a guy in a magazine, looked like he knew what he was doing, called him on the phone, and
Did he know what he was doing as much as he looked like he knew what he was doing?
in the end, no. And I'll leave it at that.
Right.
Uh, so took some lessons, started competing. Actually, just fell in love with the sport. Um, and I think I've been doing it since '07, and I couldn't go a lot before, like I get to now, because coming up in the company, working a lot, didn't have the time or the funds to travel like I wanted to. Um, and then I don't know, I was at a Utah State shoot about 5 years ago, and that's where I met Nick Barry, and we just kind of hit it off and became friends and shot together a little bit. And then when he started coaching, I called him one day and I said, hey, I really like what I'm doing, and I'd like to come take a lesson from you. And I'm kind of in a slump, and I'm not really learning anything new or getting any better or going anywhere. So I went and took a lesson from Nick, and we got to be really good friends. And now I shoot with him probably, 20 times a month. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he's really helped me with my game, and actually to the point where I feel like I can compete in some of these bigger tournaments. It's been a huge learning process. Uh, Lots of frustration, lots of hard work, but you just keep. My uncle used to say, "Hey, just keep going around the cup till you find the handle." So that's what we're doing. I haven't found it yet, but I've touched it a couple times.
Yeah. Now, and Nick, you're saying you shoot with Nick a lot. He's impressive. I mean, he hadn't been shooting long at all. He told me on a episode I did with him, but I mean, he's pretty impressive as well.
Oh yeah, Nick is. I don't know. He's just kind of got that it factor, right? Like I think maybe he's been shooting like 6 or 7 years, maybe
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I know he took a couple. He had a coach when he was still living in France, and then when he got to the U.S., I know he took a bunch of lessons from Anthony, and I think Anthony's still his coach, and he just kind of took some pointers from all those guys and put it into his own method of teaching. And I'm not saying that he's the guy for everybody, but man, he's done wonders for me. So
Yeah. What
he's definitely the guy for me. So
what is when you started shooting with Nick? What is something that he showed you? I guess that you were kind of like, wow, I didn't know this existed, or I didn't know how to do that. How did he turn you to shooting like you are now?
oh gosh, lots of different pointers. Like I was the guy that, I guess, if people are listening to this, I was a sustained lead guy all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or on some of the bigger targets, more of an intercept guy. And I mean, if you shoot like that, it's got to be perfect every time. And I wasn't perfect every time. I didn't really per se have the skill set to be perfect every time. And when I started with Nick, he pretty much changed my whole game. And for the first 6 to 8 months, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm going to get this. It was, really seeing the target, like picking out a clock direction on the target, picking out a point on the target, matching the speed of the target, being in sync with the target, knowing what the line of the target is,
Mm-hmm.
having markers on the terrain, whether it's something on a hill that's 500 yards behind you, or a branch or a leaf on a tree. A lot of the things that Anthony talks about in his book, really being in sync with the target and knowing your surroundings. What is the target doing? What
Yeah.
is the perfect break point? Not necessarily where you see it the best, but where is the best spot to break it, and learning what that is.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge game changer for me. Um, and as you know, I mean, there are so many good shooters around the world, uh, and I mean, just take the U.S. for instance. I mean, I, it's hard. It's hard to win or podium or even be in the top 25 to 30 with the talent that we have in the U.S. I mean, there's so many good shooters. You just got to keep working and trying, your best, so that maybe here and there you get a little taste of it.
The new SL2 Ferrari Beretta.
I did, and that's also been a learning curve.
How do
So
you like that gun? That's what I was going to ask you. How do you like it? How do you like the feel of it?
I love the gun. I love the way it feels. Um, coming from a pro sporter Krakoff,
Mm-hmm.
uh, heavier gun, more forgiving. You have to make the gun work, right? To the new Beretta, um, it's kind of like you're going from a pickup truck where you can kind of, you know, push it around a corner and make it work,
Yeah.
to, you know, piloting a Ferrari. It's got to be little tiny precise moves. So that's been a learning curve for me. I've had it for 5 months now. Had Jim Greenwood build me a stock. Went and spent some time in Kansas with him. We added some weight in the forearm to get it a little more barrel heavy. Shooting some steel chokes to get a little more weight in the front, and finally got it balanced to where it feels good to me. So we added a little weight to it because, as you and I are both big guys. It's like, you pick up a Louisville Slugger
Right.
versus, versus a chopstick. It's kind of like going from a baseball bat to a chopstick. It moves a little faster.
Yeah. I want to say, I'm not going to say you were the first, but you were probably the first person in the U.S. to get one of those guns. And I've still not like seen one in person, but Jim told me he was doing your stock, and I thought, man, those are some. I mean, even the case it comes in, those are some
Oh yeah,
bad guns.
super nice carbon fiber case, and and I actually was the first person in the U.S. to get one. It
Yeah.
actually showed up at Nationals last year.
Yep. Yep. Now, and the first time you went to shoot with it, from what I can remember, didn't you? I mean, you won something, didn't you? If you didn't, you
Yeah,
shot really, really well with it, because I remember saying that Mike. Somebody told me that Mike got that new gun and he is on fire with it. So
I think the first tournament I shot with it was the Jack Links Cup this year, and I think I shot a
that's right. One of the prelims,
90,
yeah,
96 in one of the prelims, or the Super Sporting or something. But
yeah, that's right.
I don't know. I was like third or fourth in that event. One of them other really good guys shot a 98 or 99 or something. So bumped me out, but
Yeah,
and it's been kind of the learning curve is the consistency with the new gun.
yeah,
Um, trusting your hold points, your break points, your eyes. Um, in the beginning, the sight picture was a lot different. Even though Jim made the stock to my measurements, and we shot at his place and made sure it was right before I left. It was a big learning curve, but I really, really, I really enjoy it. It's a beautiful gun, and
Yeah.
I like the way it moves, and we'll just keep working with it, and the consistency will come.
Have you had to do any adjustments to the stock once you left Jim, or have you left it alone?
Nope, I've left it alone. I haven't changed it since he finished it back in January.
So you're glad you made the switch then?
Yep. So far I am. I love Krakoff. I think they're a great company. I love their guns, and I don't know. I saw that the prototype uh, at the Open last year at Rick Hemingway's place, and I asked Buzzy. I said, "Hey, can I buy one of those?" And he goes, "Well, go try it on the make a break or something." So I liked it, and he ordered me one, and I'm like, I've always had this idea of going to a low rib,
Mm-hmm.
uh, maybe a little lighter, faster gun. Not that I knew how to shoot it, but at that time I didn't. But now we're finally becoming acquainted. I think we're still in the dating stage, but we're getting there.
All right, so talk about that just for a second, Mike. You went from a high rib to a flat rib. What benefits, or what benefits, I guess you'd say, have you seen in doing that, if any?
I felt like, and everybody has their own opinion, and everybody differs on how they shoot and what they see.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the high rib was really hard to get going and move on, let's say a fast crosser that was past 35, 40 yards, where you had to make a good move, but you had to get there quick. It was really hard to push there, and I had trouble shooting dropping targets. Because you have to have some barrel awareness. I mean, you're 100% focused on the target, but in your peripheral, you still have barrel awareness.
Right.
And the high rib it just felt like it was
In the way.
kind of in the way, and I couldn't make a good move or get there fast enough on a dropping target or a fast crosser. So making the switch to the low rib, my barrel awareness it's there, but it's less, and I have a better sight picture. I have more of a peripheral sight picture, and I can actually, see the target,
Yeah.
match the target, move on the target. It's just it's clearer.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. It just feels like it's all the sight pictures are better, and I can stay connected to the target longer if I have to, or acquire it sooner and shoot it sooner if I have to. Um, Still getting the gun control down is a little different because the gun does move very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still working those kinks out where I have a little better gun control, but my sight pictures um, and my barrel awareness are, in relationship to the target are way better.
Yeah. So how often are you practicing, Mike? Do you practice a lot, or?
I try to at least 3 days a week. Back to Nick when he was working for Laporte, and he's still a Laporte dealer. So it's about 2 years ago. My brother and I have a piece of property just east of town where we store a bunch of our equipment, and I have we have 880 acres, and so there's a spot up on top of in the canyon. So I bought 30 of my own machines and go out and change them all the time and do different target presentations that I think we'll see. We go to a regional or an open or the nationals, and so I try to get out there and practice. At least 3-4 days a week. So yeah, I have my own machines and two containers full of targets, and go out there and and rip it up 3-4 days a week.
You hear some people saying, I'm not going to practice any. I'm just going to go from shoot to shoot. But you'd like to do it 3 days a week.
Yeah. And I've never really talked to any of the other, pro shooters or really good shooters on what their practice routines are. But, I do know I had a conversation with Brad Kidd here a while back.
Yeah.
And we were both in agreement that we're the type of people that if I don't practice and put in the work before a big tournament, for me personally, I feel like I lose my edge.
Yeah.
Meaning I'm not looking at the fine details on the target, or, oh yeah, it's a right to left crosser and, it takes so much lead, but is it going up? Is it going down? What's the clock direction? If I don't practice, I feel like I'm not remembering all my little fine points that I need to look at when you're looking at a view pair, or, your pre-shot routine. I'm the type of guy that I got to have it fresh in my mind at all times. So I feel like the more I practice, the better I shoot in a tournament or compete in a tournament. But, that's just me. I mean, I'm sure some of those other guys maybe don't need to, but, there's a lot of guys out there that have a lot of natural ability that, maybe I don't have.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a personal preference on whether you want to practice a lot or just a little bit before you go to a tournament, or, maybe not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just comes down to the individual on how you feel it'll help you perform or not perform, I guess.
A lot of people like it, but you love it. So practicing like that, it's just more shooting time for you, So it's,
yeah. I am 100% like addicted to this sport. It's, I mean, I've never had an addiction to alcohol or drugs or anything like that, but I can see what an addiction is.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have a lapse in my day and I can go to my range and shoot for an hour, and if I don't have a lunch meeting or I don't have anything going at the office, I'm there. I always have 4 or 5 cases of shells in my truck, and my gun's always in the truck. And, I'll even take one of my guys and say, "Hey, you're done for an hour. Jump in the truck," and I'll make him come pull for me. So,
well, he gets some time off.
Yep, absolutely. They love it. They get a little bit of a break, and I get to go practice. So yeah. Anytime I can go shoot or practice or be out there doing it, I'm there. I don't know. I love it. The practice, the hard work during practice. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of addicted to that too, I guess. I love doing it.
Where did I see you last? I guess Southeast Regional, wasn't it? Have to be.
Yeah, I believe so. Georgia, right?
Yeah. So, being that you go everywhere, where's your favorite place to shoot?
I'd probably have to say Northbrook, Brett's place. I love that place. It's just a beautiful piece of property. Every time we go there, the targets are amazing. You kind of get all different aspects of, I don't know. There's quite a bit of diversity there in the landscape. I mean,
yeah.
You shoot a little bit in the trees. You shoot in the open. You shoot over water. I don't know. It's just a beautiful piece of property. I'd have to say so far that's my favorite place that I've been.
Yeah, he can do a lot there for sure.
Yeah, but I will say, Big Red Oak that we just left a couple weeks ago, that I had never been there, and that was a beautiful piece of property. That was really cool.
I said this to somebody I was talking to him out there. I'd like to see him get a world championship out there.
They could do it for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, that place is huge, and the people running it are super, super nice. I don't know if I'm sure you saw that they did quail hunts out there, and I've been on one, and it's amazing. So
I'd love to go do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, that's a good place to go. Big Mike. I know you know Mike. He sets targets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was our guide, and I mean, the dogs were perfect. Mike was perfect. I mean, it was really good. Wasn't just like a regular old quail shoot. So we had a good time. My son's always asking me when we're going back, but
Yep. I got one of those too. Where's the next trip, Dad? I'm
yeah.
like, go to work, son.
Didn't you send him overseas by himself over to World Championship when it was over there?
No, we were together.
Were you? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, last year. My son and I and Nick. We went to Italy for the World Fee Test.
Yeah, I saw several pictures of him online. I know he's done well also. And I guess have you just basically coached him to get him where he's at, or is he with Nick as well?
He's with Nick as well.
Is he? Okay.
I am. I'm a better listener and a learner than I am a coach. Guys that can teach it and be coaches have something different than I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't have the time, and number two, I really don't think I could do it. If I was to try to explain something to a new shooter that Nick has told me, I'd screw it all up. Be like, yeah, look at the clock direction and then just like match it, and they'd look at me like, what the hell are you talking about? So, yeah, I'm a better student than I am a coach. Yeah, I taught my son to a point where, he could hunt. He was learning how to shoot sporting clays. I taught him enough of what I knew, and then there was a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to bring him any farther, so you're going to go see Nick, and he's going to fine-tune your game because I'm not the guy to do it.
Yeah.
And it was, it just works out better, and it takes I'm the dad, you're the son, and you need to listen to me. And, him saying, you don't have any idea what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's just easier for him to have an outside person, teach him and coach him what he really needs to know, versus me trying to explain it. And
so what's next? Where are you going next? Are you going overseas to Fee Task, or are you staying here, or what?
No, we're going to, Nick and I are going to the World English, and then we're going to stay there and then go directly from there to Hungary for the World Fee Test. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think about no air conditioning in the rooms?
I haven't heard about that, but
you better make sure you got it. Some do and some don't, from what I've heard, and I know big guys don't like it with no air. So
I don't like the heat, and I don't like not having air conditioning, so that might pose a problem for me. I'm gonna have to make sure I pay extra to get an air conditioner in my room.
Yeah, they limit you. You can't turn them down past a certain temperature. I'm out. So, and then you got to walk everywhere. You got to walk everywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm not opposed to that. It's just, at night when I go back, I want air conditioning in my room. I can't sleep if it's hot.
I can't either. Well, Mike, listen, I've had a good time talking to you, and I think you're an interesting guy. And next time we'll have something to talk about when I see you at a shoot, other than just waving at each other.
I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah. I guess I'll see you at the next one. The next one I'm going to probably be at that you would attend is probably Nationals, honestly. So I guess I'll see you out there.
That sounds great. I will see you there.
All right, Mike.
Thanks for listening. For more episodes, go to our website, shotgunsportsusa.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook.